Good morning, everyone. So it's already 9 o'clock, no? So um, those who are early in this class, so mag-play gid ko video no while waiting for the others to come. So may buntag sa tanan. I hope everyone is in good health, and I hope you are all have your breakfast, no? And sakto nga tulog kagabi. All right. So good morning, everyone, once again. All right. So feel free to chat any comments, questions you might have regarding this class and regarding the subject we're discussing. No? So last time we talked about the entrepreneurship. No? So basic things to know there is about entrepreneurship, and this morning we will continue on emphasizing, the role of the entrepreneurs. So let me start with, because it's already 9 o'clock, I want to be prompt also, because we have a lot of things to be covered. So so I want to discuss what is an entrepreneur, or who is an entrepreneur, later on. So thumbs up first if you're okay with the class to proceed. Are we all good to proceed, guys? There's a thumbs up button right there. So I'll just know if you're on the screen. Listening. All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So salamat for joining this class again. All right. So if you've read about the earlier video from the Harvard and even any other universities in the US, entrepreneurship na subject, they're being offered as a special course na. So they're not entirely integrated in their syllabus for in engineering, no. So that's why you notice when the professor asks who among here are from the different colleges and even the law office and the business school, because they're doing that classes outside of the normal, outside of the usual schedule, no, na 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 p.m. na class. So usually they do that 8 o'clock in the evening, 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening in the US or in UK, in Europe. No? So I've attended some classes before na alas 8 magsugod, no, until 10 o'clock. So by interest, so if you want to learn about entrepreneurship, so you have to enroll on those special classes. But for you guys, because of Dado Banatau's intent, no, to for every engineer to understand entrepreneurship, so this is entirely integrated, no, in the curriculum. So no longer just an optional, unlike for other universities outside the country. All right, so let's start with what is an entrepreneur, no? Because we talk about entrepreneurship, and I think the main personality here are those entrepreneurs running the companies. So we kind of emphasize this as well. So technopreneurship, we go back to this definition, is the merging of knowledge and technology with entrepreneurship skills. So I think for engineering students or graduates, we are kind of biased in terms of the knowledge we have in technology. No? So expected of us, we are expected in how good we are in terms of like developing electronics projects. So that's one. And I think you guys knows how to build even your electronic subjects. No? So basic, from the basic good, so building, so creating. So that's where our discipline comes in, or that's where our training is designed, such that every ECE students will have a good knowledge, and then good knowledge and understanding, and translate this knowledge and understanding to develop certain types of products. So as we go towards from basic electronics to advanced electronics, so even pag-abot sa digital signal processing, we may process voice signals, convert as security systems, no, like kaning facial recognition, mga high level na niyan, no? So gikan sa basic maging power supply to the subject of digital signal processing, natay analog na signal, and then we kind of develop a device or a program wherein it will take analog signals in the form of facial, your inyong thumb mark, no? So that's why these technologies now are integrated in the mobile phones, no? If you notice, right? So electronics gini sila, no? So we need all the knowledge, and to do this we need to have a very good foundation in mathematics, because if we look at the digital signal processing, puro gina siya math, no? So conversion of analog signals to digital signals. And indeed, these technologies were developed and integrated to our device right now, no, in the form of so many mga security, no, so passwords. All right, so you see the product of the innovations in the electronics engineering. So as a whole, no, we have as a whole the mobile phones. So the merging of knowledge and technology and entrepreneurship skills. So if we go back to the partnership of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, so if we look back at that, so if you follow the story, and I think you've seen also the movie, na si Steve Wozniak, siya gid ang electronics engineer, no? So he's trying to develop the first version of the Apple computer, right? And then Steve Jobs actually saw potential in it. So parang when he saw it, like imagine how many people can probably make use of this, no? So nakita niya nga naani potential value for the consumers, no? So at the start, no? So people might be very interested in using this. That's where the business side comes in, no? So Steve Wozniak was the technologist, so he's the electronics engineer, and then we have Steve Jobs as the parang entrepreneur, no? So that marriage, no, so that team that they develop, of course Steve Jobs is not really good, he doesn't know everything, he doesn't know, he understands how the technology works, but in terms of developing and creating it, si Steve Wozniak kid, no? So when they started the company, so of course Steve Wozniak was part of the founding company and still is recognized as one of the founding companies of the Apple company in the US, right? So that's why it kind of also follow when we go towards the grouping, no? So I ask you guys to group yourself, because this is where now the members of the group will kind of act, no? So they will be responsible for example the chief technology officer, no, in the company. That's the highest position for any technology officer, no? So and then somebody can be the CEO, no, or the executive officer, and the other one can be the chief operating officer. So these are different roles in a corporation. So big corporation tend to use those titles. In Navigato before, we kind of allow them to use that because we want them to feel that they are really the kind of boss or the owners of their startups that they're trying to build. Now, imagining themselves to be future CEO, future CTO, future operating officer, or kung business ang business ang field, no? So finance officer, for example. So chief, no? You can hear CEOs, CFOs, CTOs. So we want you guys to be something like that, no? So working together and to know the difference of the roles that you're gonna play when we start our own companies, no? Our own startup. All right. So because you're students, young students, so mga bata pa man kayo mo, so we tend to kind of like want to build a startup, no, from you guys. So wala pag murag maingon nato no naka from this latest generation since 2018, wala pag isiigid naka-build gyud nga kanag yung mag-startup gid mi sir, no? Unlike sa mga ICT, CCIS students nga, they were able really to start their own startup companies. Although hinahinay, no? Hinahinay. So this is quite a journey as well. So all right. So an entrepreneur. So kinsa man dining entrepreneur, no? So you would want to know and understand what is really an entrepreneur. So this person is organizes the means of production to engage in entrepreneurship, often under considerable uncertainty and financial risk. So take note here of considerable uncertainty and financial risk, because when we start our business, of course, as an entrepreneur, lalo na sole proprietorship ang formation, the resources that you need, no? So for example, to start the business comes from the savings that you have, no? So the savings that you have to put up that example, the business, or if not, you want to have a loan, no? Kinahanglan og loan from the bank, from the cooperatives, or different kinds of source of funding, no? But lately, because of the word or of the vibrant community of startups, sometimes you don't need the personal money, you don't need to have a loan. If you have a very good startup idea, then what happens next is that you have the potential to start your business by getting funding from those who will believe in your startup idea. So that could be, example, your family, members of your family. So we sometimes call them F, no? So friends who will be very interested because you have a very good idea. So friends might be willing to say something. I'm putting in money 10,000 pesos, no? So friends, family, no? So those are people that can be source of money. But as you grow with your company, because of those help, later on we'll reach out to venture capitalists, no, that we called as mga VCs or mga angel investors, no? Those mga investors who have plenty of money that are stored in the bank, na walay, it's not rolling, it's just keeping, it's just earning interest, but at the later point of time in their life, they want to have startups. No? So this is happening actually in the country right now. No? Those with money are very interested to fund your startup. So going back to the definition, entrepreneurs may partner with other entrepreneurs or to jointly found companies. So as co-founders, kumbaga, or with an existing organization like corporate or university spin-outs. So if like the resources, kumbaga, at the start, because nobody will believe in your idea, you might want to find other people, no, or your classmates, 2 of your classmates, 3 or 4, to finance, no, because you have the best, for example, best idea in the class, and based on your analysis, your planning, business plan, you may have a stand, or you may have a chance not to really take that business off, no, to have a take off of your business activity. No? So you may want to find funding from those people around you. No? So pull in the money as well. No? If you have 10,000, 50,000 pesos, imagine that, and then people around you may have the same amount of money, and then you need like 100 grand, no, to start the business, then that's it, you can pull in, no? Or the other thing is to have other companies join you, no? So that depends on the arrangements, the contract agreements that you would enter to other groups in terms of founding the company. So other thing is that if you're an entrepreneur and then you see university's technology, you might want to consider asking the university or the professors or researchers universities that you're very interested to run the business for the university in terms of running the spin out or spin off. No, ang university spin off, ako lang i-explain, no. there is a technology in the university that were developed by the professors, and the professors usually doesn't like to go for a business because ang yung commitment is in the university, right? So he wants to be focused on what's being done in university, but you know that there is an opportunity for you to do business with that technology developed. So the arrangement can be made now between an entrepreneur who will act or run that business for the university. So pwede na siya, no, using the technology. So di na magawas dayon ang we need to license out the technology to you, no? And those researchers can be board members. So meaning to say it might no longer be a sole proprietorship, but it can be a corporation wherein the researchers of the university can serve as board members of the company. So pwede na siyang setup. All right. So right now, I know that everybody has zero without any initiated ideas yet, no, to make. So as engineer magod, expected lagi yun is maker of things, no? So muhak mo. So kung sa that's why you've heard about a lot of events right now in the country na yung mga hackathon, no? Hackathon kay na problem, na idea, then you're given like 3 days, no, to develop a product, not only the product, the prototype of the product or the MVP of the product, but to also provide a business plan, no? That's why in a group there are 3 people because one person to focus on the development of the product, the other person is gonna prepare to develop a good business plan, and the other person prepares to speak, no, for that person to communicate to people that they have built this wonderful product, no, and her goal or his goal is to buy in, no, to get people to believe in the product, and in return you will get funding from those people you've pitched, no, you pitch in. So usually in a large crowd, no, so ingana siya. So only then that we will become an entrepreneur if we have planned out our business and then we get funding for our startup. No? So right now, this year actually, in the DOST, National Capital Region, sa NCR na DOST, and it covers across the country, they've been funding startups. No? They're trying to find a very good startup. No? So in millions of pesos, as long as justifiable ang amount of money, no? So as long as no, you have a very good idea that you want to build, no? So of course many of those who I think in Cagayan de Oro there were students already who were funded from MSUIT that they consider, even if they are still student, no? So they're now like started to be funded by the DOST because they have very good ideas, no? So they start from the idea and then they have very good methodology that they want to, like, how to establish the product, no? And later on how to really market the product such that the product will have a chance, no, to survive in the market, and people will accept the product, love the product, use the product, and more of the people will use, no? So ingonana siya. So from the zero uninitiated to becoming entrepreneur. But I think the most important part for us, because we are easy, is to develop a very cool product, no, that people will love. No, people will really use it. No? So, and I think with proper business planning, proper marketing, then potentially we will take off. No, the product will take off. So, murag sayon sa, no, but then along this line, along this process, there are a lot of things, sacrifices that each entrepreneur makes. No, so dili pud siya dali. So it's easier said than done, but for those really eager, no, driven individual, can make a difference. So drive, good drive. The most important thing here is drive, personal drive, or the drive of the team. Like, that's why one of the things we're gonna talk about is leadership, no? Because you yourselves as a group, no, as a group, as or individually, you are a leader of the team, no? So, well, there are three of you, but you are leaders in your respective roles in the startup company. Okay, so I hope if you have questions or clarifications to make, chat. Okay, I'll try to check the chat. May Condrebe. Right, sir. Good morning. Okay, good morning po. So, feel free to ask question, ha. Okay lang sa ako if you will feel interrupt, or if you like to interrupt me during my discussion, ask question by voice. No, I want you guys to So, I have an assignment DI na sa LMS. So, to tell you guys, we are required in the university to have the LMS. And actually, the assignments are posted there. I know you have already submitted, no, the team names. So, I want you to guys to, you already emailed me, but the college, our dean and department heads are monitoring our activities online through the LMS, and they want us to follow the rules, no, that set that assignments and all that documents will be uploaded there, no? So mga ko pasensya sa inyo if I have to ask you to upload, no? So tungod kay individual, although katong mga assignments, ubang assignments by group, I want you guys to upload the documents individually, no? So para makredit yun sa every individual. So actually there's no problem with me, but then they are trying to ask us to submit all the documents there. So I want you to put all those documents in the LMS. Okay, moving on. So entrepreneur must be seen and perceived as an innovator. So, because we kind of discussed already the definition by engineers should not just remain as inventor, but bring this invention to the marketplace. No, meaning to say, to be really commercialized. So, and that's the only time that we can consider ourselves innovators. So, kumbaga, una ko nahimo karon nga technology, ugwa na ko na nabaligya, it's just an invention, then we're just an inventor, no? We're not innovator, right? So I hope that's clear, no? So if we have an invention and then we found ways, no? We found ways to really commercialize the invention, then that's the time that we consider ourselves as innovator. So skills required. Innovation and ability to be creative to generate new ideas for a business venture. It must have the quality of leadership and a strong sense of unified teamwork to gain maximum benefit. So we have experienced this before. No? So they're a very good team. They have plenty of ideas on mind. They have a lot of things to do. Then because of those things, sometimes a lot of things can happen in between the team, no? Which led them to break out because the other guys want to pursue this line of idea, and then the other guys wants to push this to work on this. So at least in the team, no, there will be somebody who will like take the lead, no, in terms of the decision making later on. Although we commonly practice kanang democratic process niya, okay, what do you think about this? And then there's a process, no, getting all the ideas out there, and then you as a team would like kind of somehow weigh things down, no, by kung kinahanglan nyo i-grade each idea, then so be it. But the most important thing is that at the final or at the end of the day, all of you have agreed upon one idea that this is the way we go forward. So that's how we could, I don't know, at the end of the day, we could be working together with our members of the team. Okay, so there are a lot of words here. So I think even in elementary, high school, we've been told to be very creative. No? So, see people that not only in terms of art, no, but in terms of putting things together, building things. No? So such that we will be able to build new things. No? So there are really people by habit or by really personal practice, not to do things, develop things. So those are considered. So that's how I saw, or I remember Steve Wozniak, no, yung life ba nga, after his business day, he has plenty of time to work at night to develop something new, something different. No? So making use of his time properly. No? So yun nga na siya. So types of entrepreneurs. So yeah, I think this is also worth mentioning, no? Because later on you will identify yourself. Where am I right now? No? But basically, for you guys, because we're just starting out discussing about T101, so zero pa yun, zero, as in zero, no? Unless if you have started your own business that is not even tech related. No? So nascent is a person who is now trying to start a new business, who expects to be the owner or part owner of the new firm, and has been active in trying to start the new firm in the past 12 months. So this kind of definition here, no? And whose startup did not yet have positive monthly cash flow that covers expenses, and the owner manages salaries for more than 3 months. All right. So those guys in the TBI, so what we do, Manggod, usually in the TBI is that we run 3-day innovation bootcamp, no? So we run bootcamp. That is 3 days, like from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's what we did before. We tried to run a bootcamp so that those guys who are interested to become, like, to know more about entrepreneurship, because we're not offering this subject before. We do that so that at the end of the bootcamp, there are like 30 teams at the start, and after the bootcamp, there will be only like 10 to 15 startup teams. No? So meaning to say, those guys who are trying to work, so they belong in that category, nascent. No? So they're trying to build. No? They're trying to build the idea. So a good idea. So dili siya mandated, no, from us. No? So for example, Group A, you should work on this and that. No? So meaning to say, this comes from you guys, those person really wants to have your own business. No? So any kind of business. Kaya lang, ang technology business incubator na to, by the word in itself, is a tech-based, no? Technology-based. So tech-based. So when we have a tech-based, so that means na relation to the technology. No? So for us, before, when we started it, so mga computer science, and then later on, last batch in 2019, before the pandemic, there were ECE students. No? Kaya lang, because of the pandemic, we're not able to complete the program. Okay? So I think I will present also, or invite our fellow TBI manager here to discuss about the TBI incubation program. But this is where all begins, no? Sa atoa, for you guys. No? Actually, kami po, karon mga faculty karon, we're trying to build our own spin-off. Ako, si Dr. Rolinda Gale, si Melbert, no, si Alex, no, Alexander Demetilio, so, and Dr. Hapitana, we're trying to build a spin-off company. And that will be launched middle of this year, no? That's our, so to try, no, to try out, to try nga one. So we are supported with DST. We've been funded by DST with around 11 million. So to translate that technology. No? So we're working together now with different responsibilities for that matter. So novice is someone who is just started to run his or own his business and still learning new things to make it work successfully. So in the first few months or first few years, really we're trying to figure it out now how to run the business. So are we really targeting the market segment or the type of market that we're going to? Basinog, this type of technology can be used in other ways, no? In in other platforms. So field of use, kumbaga. So for example, technology, kaning LiDAR nga technology. So we've been using LiDAR technologies or generating flood hazard maps for the LGUs, no? But then here comes another opportunity. Like earlier we mentioned our group, no? And then the ANECO is very interested for us to work with us, for us to produce a electronic or online system, no, that they will be able to monitor ang ilang mga electric posts, no, so by developing a map, so electronic online map, no, so they will definitely like click on that area location and determine that is the map, and then electronically they can shut down, no, they can shut down the power on that location, no, through system na lang, no? They don't have to be physically. So there were switches integration, no? Hardware and software. So dili na siya pang LGU DI, pwede po siya pang ANECO, no? So that means nga you're looking at, there is a bigger business DI when we do that to this particular field, no? So power generation or the electric cooperatives mga. So imagine if we develop that already, then we can formally introduce this to the different electric cooperatives in the country. All right, so we're still learning, no? Nga na siya. So, but kaning mga uban nga types of entrepreneurs, so they're really good at it already, no? So they have prior business ownership experience, and I think they have started the business and then somebody was interested to buy it, so they sold it. Like for example in Google, there are plenty of businesses there that were bought by Google because Google was very interested in the technologies that developed. First and foremost, Waze. So Waze developed a platform, no, for us to find ways very easily, right? So to avoid traffic. So Google decided to buy it, right? And then so may gipalit nila sa Google. Can you cite an example that Google bought? Unsa nga company ang gipalit sa Google? Because they were very interested in the technology or service or offering or the business in itself. All right, YouTube, no, Harvey and Lord. Yeah, so that's correct, no, YouTube. So I think that's one of the biggest acquisition that was obtained by Google, no. So if Google like wants to purchase those companies, so they spend money, no. So baligyan nila pila ka billions of US dollars, they will really buy it. So yeah, so Facebook. About Facebook, do you know Facebook also acquired, no, WhatsApp? What else? Instagram. So updated you can sa RV ba? No? So WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger. So there are plenty of mobile applications there that were purchased now because these are big companies and they want to buy those companies to defeat the competition, no? So to defeat the competition and still become the market leader, no? So there are strategic objectives by those companies why they want to really buy those companies. All right, so let me go back, you know, to the discussion. And serial portfolio, so we have this different business definitions, you know, or entrepreneur. So if you would become a portfolio entrepreneur, no, that means you have plenty of businesses that you are involved with, no. So do you guys watch Shark Tank sa YouTube lang, at least sa YouTube? Do you watch Shark Tank? No, do you guys watch? Kinsa man katanaw sa inyo dire og kanang Shark Tank? Jake, do you watch Shark Tank? Jake? Oh, Wendell. Wendell, do you watch Shark Tank on YouTube? Are you here, guys? Wala. Okay, wala.
Sana, sir.
Okay, so Lord is
Wala,
asking,
sir.
wala, no? So, all right, so sa Shark Tank, this is actually a very interesting kanang TV program, no? Because there are popular investors there in Shark Tank. If you have free time, you can watch on YouTube, no? So, there are startup companies who would pitch their business ideas to this popular businessman. No, so one of them, the popular businessman, who is the kay mga lalaki kasagaran dire, who is the owner of Dallas Mavericks? Who is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks basketball team? Anybody? Who is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks?
Mark Cuban, sir.
Okay, James, thank you. So Mark Cuban, no? So Mark Cuban is a billionaire, no? He also engaged before becoming a billionaire. He also engaged in startup business. Actually, ang niya is internet business, no? Then he sold that for over $1 billion as well. And he used that money to further on, no? To start other businesses until such time he was able to buy portion of the Dallas Mavericks, and now he also co-owns the Dallas Cowboys, no, kaning football, because in America the number one sports in America is not basketball, it's not the NBA, it's the American football, no, the National Football League, no. So he's that type of serial entrepreneur, a portfolio entrepreneur, because in the Shark Tank, going back to Shark Tank, he was able to like become one of the panels, no, or panelists in Shark Tank. There are startups there who would pitch for this business idea seeking for funding. No, so for example, $100,000 and up to $1 million. So maybe in next succeeding discussion, so we'll have one segment of Shark Tank. So those guys, there's also Mr. Wonderful, the bald guy. These guys are billionaires. They fund startups that they believe has the best business idea. And I want you guys to kind of look into that as well, no? Because people have a different way of pitching their ideas to get the attention of those investors, because you're looking for money, no? So the best way really to grow a business is to find funding support. Na you don't need to have a loan, okay? Loan, because you are obliged to pay the loan every month, every month magiging ang singil sa mga loan sa bangko, no? So you don't want that to happen. The startups would seek money from those investors, and in return they kind of own part of your company. For example, Mark Cuban will say, all right, I will be giving you $200,000, but in return, no, so in return give me 20% of your company. So nga na, no? So sense of ownership in a way. So they will be asking you in return, no? So Harvey is asking, mao na tawag na valuation, sir. All right, so we go to also that part, no? We have a certain natay klase po na we tend to look into the value of our company. So we need to compute unsa man the value ana tong company. Now, for example, basic na lang, no? So in terms of valuation, like you have invented a once entirely different nga balik ta sa water dispenser, unique. People will really like it. The moment they see that water dispenser, nobody will ever refuse to buy it instead of those traditional ones. So what is the market? So the market is around, say, 50 million potential households in the Philippines will buy your product, no? So for example, 50 million, and then your cost for cost for your innovative water dispenser would be around 10,000 pesos. So your market, potential market households no 50 million. So 10,000 pesos times 50 million, pila man na? Pila man na siya? 50 million times 10,000 pesos. Pila na siya? Alright. Pila na siya? How much is it? 500 billion. I'll trust you on that, Lord. No, 500 billion pesos. That's the potential sales, gross sales. Kumbaga, kung everybody will buy the product. No? So, but let's try to assume that with that market share, you'll only get 10%. No, 10%. So 10% lang, for example, 10%. So 500 billion, 10% of that is ang akong customer de permi, si Lord, si Harvey, si Christian, si Dan. So what is 10% of 500 billion? Asa man din yung uban? Nagtimpla pagkape, sir. Okay. All right. So what is 10% of 500 billion? That is obvious, but I want to hear from you guys. Okay, 10% is 50 billion, no? 50, 10%. So 50 billion, no? So that's the potential market for the product, no? But then, of course, there will be mga deductions and ano. So let's say 50 billion. So mayroon si Mark Cuban, this is a very good business. Sige, because that is the value, potential value of your company. Sige, ato na lang ni subayon ng 5 billion. Kita ko nagikainin ng 5 billion pesos. So, 5 billion pesos. So, meaning to say, okay, mo ingon si Mark Cuban nga, sige, maghatag ko kuan pod 1 billion pesos to finance your, nakuha kayo, no? 1 billion to provide for your business. So, meaning to say, that is 20%, no? So, pwede siya nga mga si Mark Cuban will offer you 1 billion pesos for in exchange for 20% ownership of the company. So, pwede yung nga arrangement. No? That is just an example. Okay? That's just an example. So, kani sila Mark Cuban because they always provide for funding. So, may tabo sila, portfolio sila. Portfolio nga entrepreneur. All right. So, okay. So, why become an entrepreneur? This is very important. No? The main reasons why we are engaging into TBI, entrepreneurship, why we're trying to teach entrepreneurship. So, why not become forever an employee? And why pursue entrepreneurship? So, if you would know, the driving force between the driving force behind the economy of the country is really the entrepreneurs we have in the country. Imagine those entrepreneurs. So they employ millions of Filipinos. No? So kami, namin sa government, we are professors in the academy. So, and the academic universities are not the business, no? Not a commercial business, but the business of the government. But those people working in universities, private universities, working under SM, these big companies, multinational companies, so they develop or they establish job creation. So if we don't have them, our economy really, or our economy is sluggish. We don't imagine people, millions of people without jobs. So monetable right now. So we have this COVID-19. So a lot of the businesses closed because they're not allowed to do business. Basic example, sinihan. Sinihan. So tungod kay still the cinemas are closed. So those film industry, so down gid kayo sila. So about the restaurant business, All right, so the business, the restaurant business, they're also closed. Okay, so although slowly open, no? So a lot of jobs are lost. So that's why we pray for those people who have lost their jobs. Right? So kinahanglan gyud. This is the main reason why, because becoming entrepreneur, you will contribute, no, to the growth of the country, of the nation building. It's part of our nation building. So if 20 of you guys, 20 lang, say 20 of you employs 10 persons, so that means you can have 200. Imagine if plenty more, no? So kung magkadako pa gyud ang kumpanya, then you'll be expanding your company to hundreds, and then later on 1,000, then you're becoming a big company in itself. All right, so that means growing your company. So entrepreneurs are the ones who explore opportunities. You scan the environment, you mobilize the resources, financial, people, convert those ideas into viable business proposition or proposition, and provide new products and services to the society by bringing together and combining various factors of production. So, meaning to say, as especially for those leading the team, you know, the CEOs, CTOs, you know, so those really are the guys who really like lead, you know, the organization or the team or the startup team to really find ways, you know, to grow the business, to find and explore those opportunities. And if the opportunities are there, then you really have to capture it and maximize the opportunity that you have. You know, so an individual, an entrepreneur individual, should have a distinct vision and a dream. You know, so it's not enough that our minds are set on that particular thing, but we want you to go beyond. No, so for example, a startup business is conceptualized to like tested in a local community here in Butuan. For example, you have a startup business here, and if you think that business have the potential to grow, no, to not only in Butuan because you're getting better, bigger, and then you see that, wow, I'm getting sales, no, a lot of sales, then you would want to grow your business, dream of like my internet is kind of slow, to grow your business, to expand to other parts of the country and even abroad, no? So that's why good entrepreneurs acknowledge that there are also business opportunities outside of the country, no? So not only here but also go beyond, so establish different offices. Imagine that your business growing. So if ingon ana, no, so at least that takes a lot of hard work, no, effort. So for you guys, because you're still young, kami we're already there, no. So medyo sa inyo ha, this gonna be a very good avenue, no, to kind of think about the business opportunity you might want to take. So nga na siya, no, because you're young. Because if you are really, you have to balance, ano, imagine you're now 60 years old, you have your, if that's the time you start, then there are a lot of more risk, greater risk, no, because your family, imuha ko, ano, unless og na kay pension, right? Even ang pension nimo is gamiton nimo, there's greater risk, no, compared to the young ones. Because for you guys, the young ones, you can learn a lot of mistakes, but then you will grow yourself from those mistakes. So I hope you can understand that. No? So you will have opportunity, kumbaga, no? To learn from your mistakes and not to repeat those mistakes, and therefore take it off from there. So kaning mga entrepreneurs po, even Elon Musk and all these guys, they were not just simply succeeded right the first time, no? So imagine how many times they tried the rocket, no, to really launch to space. That was until 4th time or 5th time already. Now, that's why I want you to guys to read the book. No? So katong e-book nga akong gisend sa inyo, that I want you to read as part of the assignment, essay po to inyong kwan. The objective there is really to help you understand how or what was the journey of Elon Musk. No? So it's not really like a straight line, no? So dili siya straight line. So you might encounter a lot of problems, no? So there was a time that Elon Musk was even kicked out from his own company. I don't want to tell you what company is that, but I want you to read, guys, because I want you to understand that if becoming an entrepreneur might be very difficult, but then at the end of the day, you want to look into that goal in mind na you will become successful in the future. So as engineers, kami mag-ato, no? So we are goal-oriented, meaning to say we want to finish our degree and then become electronics engineers. Those are part of the goals. So entrepreneurs, they also have goals and vision, or so they have a dream, no? So they want to really like introduce this technology to the world, no, not only for Butuan City but for entire world. So ingon ana siya, no? So those are entrepreneurs, you can like follow their footsteps, no? It's not entirely because they're dinagko, ano, but then unsa man itong mga attitude, how they overcome failures, no? So that's what I want you to study, no? Because they are very important in terms of the entrepreneurial or entrepreneurship journey. Okay? So some skills, no? So mga theory, daghan magud kayo over the years, there are many people who studied the behaviors of the entrepreneurs. No? So sorry. So I tried to narrow down. I do think there are a lot of things as well that we can include here, but I tried to narrow down the things that are important, you know, that the way I see it, they're important. And I think if we have a guest speaker here now who is also entrepreneur, we can ask them also what are the skills required for them, what were their skills, no, such that they were really successful. Okay. Sorry. So reading that book as well, the ebook that I posted in the LMS, that would also serve you guys, no, understand. All right. So for this one, the ability to focus on your customers, so that's very important. If customers have plenty of complaints, that's the best way to improve services or often offer a new product. Okay? Kana gid ang mga complaints bitaw sa mga customers, that's kind of a baseline, no? So kanang kapoy mga sige. Kanang mga, for example, no, nga kapoy mo adto og Jollibee kay ulan niya mag-commute para mapalit lang ko kanang manok, one piece fried chicken niya, ulan niya way sakyanan, COVID, no? So what was the easiest answer there? Unsa may solution gi-provide, no? So if the customers have that kind of mindset, so unsa man ang kuan, how businessmen of Food Panda. Okay, Dan. Thank you, Dan. So Food Panda, no? So food delivery, no? So right there immediately, Food Panda offered that kind of services, no? So right, for example, another example would be ay sa abusado kini mga driver, oh. Kanang nagsabot ni 200 pesos lang niya. Pag-abot dito, naningil og 500 pesos. So that's a complaint, no? So abusado, pag sugod 200, ay layo naman kaya ni ma'am, 500 ni ma'am kay abi na kog duol ra. So what kind of service can you offer with things like abusado nga mga driver? What kind of services or solution that you can provide, no, to fix that kind of problem? Melaine. Okay. About Shaira, manawag ko dira. About Chris, Jasmine, what kind of solutions you can think? Can you open your videos for 1 minute? Can you open please your video? I want to discuss All right. So thank you. All right. So Christian is here. Christian, if you have a problem like that, what do you need to do to provide the services na yung mga abusado nga for example, kanay mga tricycle drivers na to dire sa Butuan? Ano po to, Christian? Naman. Christian, okay.
I-trace, sir, tapos kuan nang pangtangan og penalty or sanction ta.
Okay, would that be a mobile application? Unsa man na siya? Electronic in nature? Christian? Nawala si Christian. Christian? You're there? Unsa man na siya? Electronic in nature or what do you think about the solution? All right, anybody? Kinsa may kuan? Si Lord, can you expand on this Transic same sa taximeter? All right.
Sir. Kaya sa taxi, sir, na siya ay cost per meter, sir.
Okay.
Nga, ibutang. Para di na maglalis kung pila i-pay dyan.
Oh. So kaning mga kuan, is this happening ba in Butuan? Like na mo sakay tricycle pahatod og kuan nya na maningil og dako dayon or sabot daan unsa may nahitabuan ni sa Butuan?
Pag magabi, sir, mahal ng plate.
Mahal na ang plite. All right.
Pag gabi,
Okay. So Transic was designed to do that. It's a mobile application. Yeah, you can ask you can use the Transic app and then ask those guys na fix na ang term, no? So fix na ang term. All right. For this exercise, what other problems you would want you to solve nga problema gid siya? Do you know any problems that kind of will be an opportunity so for you guys? What kind of problems do you see that maybe you can like work or solve that kind of problem? Anybody? I think we go back to the discussion about baboy. No, so but other examples that you can think of na every day you face problems with internet. So unsa may lain problem nga gusto ninyo murag inyong na feel gyud nga burden gyud siya. Anybody? Hello? Wala pa? Wala pa sa karon? You don't realize it nga problema pa siya? No. So sa mua karon kay ting alas 10 naman problema ang lungagon. Palit pa kog bugas, no. No, so wa pay bugas balay, no, maglungag pa. So kinsa may maglungag pa diha kay alas 10 na.
Oh, sir,
Ang lungagon, no. So siyempre ang lungagon, so wala pa ko rice delivery. Okay? Sige, balik ta dito sa PowerPoint, no? Right. I just want to see your beautiful faces in the morning. Okay, balik ta sa atong gi-discuss. So, really, the business is about focusing the customers. So, for example, kani magong mobile phones karon grabe na gid, no? So, before bati kayo ang camera, no, sa mga cellphone, like dili klaro, dili pa kayo wide, so dili pa sophisticated, and they keep on claiming bati kayo low resolution and no. So that's why this mobile phone manufacturers, they really see to it na they will integrate, no, integrate a and put more focus on mobile phones, no, because people tend to like get selfies all the time, no. So ang una to is high kuan pa kayo, no, high resolution ng mga camera, no. So nindot pa kayo until such time niabot na ron nga nindot na kayang camera nya, nindot na pud kayo ang resolution sa camera, and then even better na software because bisag na kay daghang bugas pag selfie makuha ng bugas, no, mawala ang bugas, di ba, na may mga kamera na, no. So kuan siya, no. So ni evolve ang mga application. So ingon pa si Hansel diri Beauty Plus. Unsa na siya, Hansel? Kuan na siya? Mobile app na siya. So mawala ang bugas, no. So magwapag samot gyud, no, naas camera daan. Okay, thank you. So maning napay gi-post ko Andre Deo si Dan. I think ma-consider na pud ang siya sa food delivery, sir, ang rice delivery like any other delivery services like Maxim sa Butuan. Right, no? So Maxim na yung mga actually that's true, no. Ang Maxim karon ga-offer na sila og delivery for other goods, no. Na mga deliver og gulay, no. So you know guys, they are very helpful, no, kaning mga delivery. So ako di balik, no, before ko matog beauty camp. They're very helpful because at that time when COVID mi atong December, no, gi-quarantine mi sa balay, no, to, December gito, so wala mi nagpasko kay quarantine mi nya na yung mga pulis gabantay sa gawa sa balay. So wala mi lay mahimo, we cannot go out, and may na lang kay nisugot ang ko ano nga sa balay ra mi mag-quarantine. So these guys, Food Panda, Maxim, napatoy ka ng online grocery store. So through them, we were able to get our supplies, no, because we were not expected na or expecting na magka-COVID me. So really, they were of great help, no, in terms of the food that we need, no, for that duration, the 2 weeks duration na naka-lockdown me sa balay. And going back to the camera, no, because mao naman gid ang claimer, no, sa mga especially sa mga millennials na unsa man ni bati man ning camera ay tumantag na yung camera nga kanang bugapa ta og samot, no. So that's why the manufacturer heard them to develop software, no, develop software hardware to make the camera even better. So that's where the companies really focus on customers. Diha bitaw pod nakasulod ang Huawei, no, because Huawei developed a very good camera, better in partnership with a popular manufacturer as well, no, dili Kodak, Lees, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's one of the oldest company into the camera technology, and they were able to deliver a very good phone, no? So they focus on the customers, no? Because once you focus the customers, that's the most important thing, because they will buy, no? They are the persons buying your product, and if customers doesn't love your product, then nobody will buy your product. That's why very important when we have our business, we need to really study the customer. Kinsa gina siya. It's not about really the technology, because the technology is supposed to follow, no, what the customer wants. So gusto sa customer nga nindot siya walay bugas, gwapa kay sa pagpicture. So the software team needs to develop a product or an algorithm, a software nga gwapa gid siya, no? Ano siya. So focus on the customers, because the more they love the product, they will keep on buying the product. That's what happened in Apple company. Diba? Sa Apple sa US, so nicely designed. So they started it all, the lens, I mean the kana sa smartphone nindot kayo ang kanang koan, no? So meaning to say na sila diha, no? Nindot sila og kanang product and services. So also raise money, because a startup company, you need money, no? So that's why you pitch your ideas, you pitch your company, and then hopefully get support, no, funding support. Okay, Ang nakanindot karon sa Pilipinas, there are a lot of opportunities for startups to pitch your idea. It's just that you need to package your presentation properly. We need to package a very good problem statement, which should be very, very good. So, raising money. So, going back to the Shark Tank, no? So, if you watch that, go into the YouTube, saan na Shark Tank? So, startups, entrepreneurs, they are pitching their products, ideas to those funding agencies or funding the sharks, no, the businessmen. So other than raising money, we need to manage people because, of course, we want to retain good people. And to manage people, of course, there's this hiring of good people. No? So going back to Elon Musk, no? So Elon Musk is a startup in terms of running, not the Tesla, but in terms of running the SpaceX. So he hired those very bright minds. So he has a very good strategy actually. No? So he went to very good schools. No? So like mga fresh graduates and offered them immediately a good package. The intelligent ones, the bright ones in terms of science, no, in BS physics, those guys who are very talented, material science engineers. So he hired them, fresh graduate, so very low cost, okay, because they startup, yeah. If you provide them immediately a job, then that is a very good opportunity for them, like $40,000 US a year, no? So that's how he hired people, no? So he goes to the best universities in the US and gathered a very good and intelligent team, no, to develop rockets. Because ang rocket nga gusto ni Elon Musk, reusable, no? So once nga mo take off sa surface of the earth, mubalik siya, unya mo tindog lang gyapon, no? Dili dito nga padulo sa ocean. No, mubalik dito sa designated nga base kung asa sa mubalik. So that's how smart their rockets are, no? So about people. So we need to say reward system, if they did a good job, bonuses. So there are plenty of things that can be discussed here. So not only raise money, but also manage the money that you have raised. How do you allocate the money, no, in terms of that? As a CEO, how to be an entrepreneur friends, no, to other businessmen. It's very important to establish networking actually, no. So for you guys LECE, it's not enough that ang inyong kaistorya pero may mga ECE lang yun, no. As a leader, you try to develop yourself a skill nga bisag asa mo ibutang makaistorya mo glaing tao, no. It's about weather, sports, news, COVID, no. So the conversation part there is to make yourself, no, get communication skills, no? So be able to establish a network. So I know you guys, many of you here are very good, no, good leaders. You have your student organizations. That's a good starting point for you guys to practice establish relationship with others. Okay, so other is the ability to deal with failure. No, so when you fail, how do you respond to failure? No, so meaning to say you have to prepare yourself in any event of failure. You need to prepare the steps or what unsa may kinahanglan nimo. Okay, so kinahanglan nimo would you react emotionally? No, because you know Japanese, when they see failure, what do they do? Japanese guys, most of them, like the businessmen or even employees, if they fail, harakiri. Tama ba? No? So, worst case situation, they would like commit suicide. No? And for us Filipinos, that's a big no-no. No? But for them, that's how they deal. No? So, emotional, mental. So, when we feel failures, that's how did you die? No? So, even you guys as a student, you have to think, if I see failure, what am I gonna do? No, so are we gonna follow the emotions and then commit to do something bad? So meaning to say, there should be preparations that needs to be taking place. Like you just have to cool down, wait for another day to make decisions. For example, watch Netflix, watch YouTube, just to forget it for a while, and then come back later and then think it rationally. Because sometimes when we are very emotional, we tend to be irrational, no? So, ingon na siya. So, we need to manage that. All right? Next. Okay. Some popular successful technopreneurs, we know already Dado Banatao. I think I've introduced him earlier. No? So, he's well known for inventing the first Windows graphic accelerator chip for personal computers. And even now, there are about 30% of every computer in the world contains this technology, that Dado Banatao. And he's the guy responsible for us having this discussion right now. Okay? So he's responsible. So I do think I salute this guy. No? For a while, I'll get some water. Medyo katol na gina akong kuhan. Please excuse me. All right, so there's YouTube videos about him, no? So you can find them. I think I've also included here. Let me see, no? So this one is the board or the chip, no, that they have the built. So this is about Dado.
No one told me that I could do it. My name is Dado Banatao.
Right.
I come from the north.
Wait lang
My
ha.
father was a farmer. I am an engineer.
Ayun.
I grew up in a typical barrio in Cagayan Valley.
Wait lang, no.
Back
Sorry
then,
for that.
there was no electricity, no telephones.
I
I
think
was
it's
taught math
playing.
by moving bamboo sticks. There were no luxuries. Almost all of my classmates stopped going to school after 6th grade to help in the fields. But my father never asked My name is Dado Banatao. I come from the north. My father was a farmer. I am an engineer. I grew up in a typical barrio in Cagayan Valley. Back then, there was no electricity, no telephones. I was taught math by moving bamboo sticks. There were no luxuries. Almost all of my classmates stopped going to school after 6th grade to help in the fields. But my father never asked me to help him. He wanted a better life for me. He made it clear his job was to keep food on the table. My job was to study. I went to high school far from my home. I felt inferior to the other students. They were from the city. I was the son of a farmer. While my friends played basketball, I studied. I fell in love with engineering. I wanted to build things. But when I graduated from Mapua, there were no design jobs for engineers in the Philippines. So, I moved to America. I applied for a master's in engineering at Stanford University. I was excited. but I was also so intimidated. Everyone seemed smarter than I was. So I studied twice as hard. I saw an opportunity to design better computer chips, and I started a company. That company failed. No one told me that I could do it. I had to tell myself that I could. And so I tried it again. This time, we succeeded. My success is a direct result of my beginnings. It is the same will and determination that every Filipino possesses. Our country is one of the fastest growing economies in Asia. But over 30% of our people still live like I did growing up. But my life shows a different path is possible. It is why I started PhilDev. We imagine a Philippines where every school has internet, where deserving students are given scholarships so they never have to stop learning, where thousands of young Filipinos start companies that hire millions more. We know hardship. It's time we learn success. I am not so special, but I am determined. My story could be your story. As Filipinos, it must be our story.
All right. All right. So I hope you got the message. No? So I want to share about the life of Dado here. So he really wanted us to be focused on this. No? So I hope that you guys heard something very important from him. So he started just like us, nothing. But he had this opportunity to
Writing's
really,
not that easy, but
Right.
Grammarly can help.
right,
This
nothing
sentence
going on.
is
For just $67, you can make as many videos as you want, and you never need to pick up.
Let me go back to the file now. So Dado is very important, an example to us. He wants us to really like also inspire students through his examples. So his life journey, kumbaga, you can learn more about him. There are several feature stories about him. So how he was able to do this. But the most important thing that we can relate to is that he also came from a very poor family. And then I think the message is the study, kaning degree niya, mo'y nakatabang niya. And for him to become a entrepreneur. I think we mentioned about SpaceX already before. So notable innovators and technopreneurs. So we will not expand on that, but rather talk about startup, because these guys, when they started, they're not a big company immediately. So they're just a group of 3, 4, 5 persons who kind of developed the Tesla and also the SpaceX. So if you're very important, there are a lot of documentations, videos about how Elon Musk started SpaceX. So even the so my assignment, the assignment, the ebook that I want you to read. So I'm giving you a month to. I think that's enough time, because I read that book for every night for around 5 to 7 days, I think. So I read that every night and then finished the book in those times. So giving you 1 month to read and come up with a reaction paper about the journey of Elon Musk as an entrepreneur, the challenges he faced, and how he was able to really get by those challenges. I think a month would be enough. So yeah, just want to be clear. Are we okay with the 1 month? Thumbs up please for the 1 month. No, 1 month man to akong gihatag. Are we okay with that? 1 month? Okay, Jan. All right. So the most important thing for us guys is to read and understand, the challenges. It's not about the the success of the business in itself, but the journey. That's the most important part. The journey that these entrepreneurs went through to be able for them to become successful. So keywords. What are the keywords here? Determination, mga fighting spirit. So anything that you can come up with and discuss in your reaction paper. So based on the content of your reaction paper, that's what I will base the grading as well. So, all right. So ang ako lang yun is for us to understand and be inspired. Be inspired about these entrepreneurs. Okay. So next is so medyo dagan-dagan pa, but we are running out of time. So startup. So startup is a temporary organization designed to search for a repeatable and scalable business model. So repeatable siya. You can really implement it time and again and scale it up to a time wherein you can implement it not only in Butuan City, in the Mindanao region, Visayas, the entire Philippines. Now imagine a company that you started here in Butuan and it grows to other places. So usually magod ang mga businesses starts in Manila and then they expand going towards the Visayas and Mindanao. Now, what if you guys as a startup will be able to grow that particular business idea to the Philippines and beyond? Meaning to say, asa pa man ni pwede ay ma-practice. So imagine ang Lazada, so they took advantage of us actually. So they started in Singapore and then they grew. They have a very good business model. It's scalable wherein it can be implemented to other countries. Malaysia, Thailand, Japan, and so on and so forth. So Southeast Asia, ginilang focus. Indonesia and the Philippines because we're a very big market. Imagine the population of India, of Indonesia, then the population of the Philippines. We're a big market. Singapore is a very tiny project, our country. But then they were able to test the product there. And then when they polish it properly, they were able to scale that idea to other Southeast Asian countries. So now they are in the Philippines. So yung na po ng story sa Grab. They started in Malaysia, then they went out to Singapore, Philippines, and so on and so forth. So they have an organization that once started as a startup and later on becoming a big company. So Grab is now like funded by Toyota Motors. They have sought also funding from, I think, Google. There is also one company in Indonesia that's called Gojek. It's a very big business as well. They were once a startup. Okay. So this is also an organization dedicated to creating something new under condition of extreme uncertainty because you don't know really when this will will work. So that's why even as a student, this is a good time for you to validate yung business idea is gonna work or not. If not, then what are you gonna do? Pivot, So change direction, something like that. Let me just namugoy ko madunggan nga manok. Kinsa man na. I want you to turn off your mic, Romel. Now, Romel, I think that's where the All right. So going back to the discussion, so we have 4 minutes left now. So startup, I want you guys to focus on startup because this is where our journey will be in the next several months. Especially. So I mentioned about Lazada, Spotify, Airbnb. So I want you to look into this. So since we have a very limited time, I will discuss this next week, no startup. And I will be continuing to post all materials in the LMS. I understand you have a 10:30 class, so I will be stopping this by 10:28. No, so a lot of materials are already posted in our LMS. So for us, Magod, as professors, we know who are the students who opened already and spent some time in the LMS. We saw how many hours we were there looking at the ano. So there are several of you who have not been able to check out the materials yet. So I want you guys to check all the materials in the LMS. Start reading because the assignment, medyo dagan-dagan og assignment because we are offline every Monday. So your job every Monday is to look into the videos, go back to the videos, and also work on the assignments that we will leave you. No? So we're leaving you, all right? So I know you have 10:30 class. I would respect that. So we'll continue to and finish this discussion no, in our next meeting. All right, so team composition, I will discuss that immediately after we discuss about startup. All right, so do you have questions, guys? Comments? Okay, Hansel mentioned here AI camera, that's correct. Leica, no, camera with the Huawei. So they're very good.
Huawei of Transit.
Okay, thank you, Lord. Adrian. All right. So, any comments, guys? Do you have comments, questions? Are you up for the bootcamp? Huh? Hello. Okay. For the last time now, so let me have your camera turned on. So I'll take just a snapshot because ang atong kuan engineering requires documentation. So can you turn on the videos for the last time before we go? And then we can leave. Everybody can leave. Can you please turn on your video again? Guys, can you turn on your video? All right, for the last time, I'll have just a screenshot, no? So it's good to see your faces. All right, Dan, wala pa. James, Marinel, wala pa. All right, thank you guys for turning on your video, no? So, all right, so let me have the first screenshot. Napayuban wala. Okay. All right, murag nasubo itong tanan. So, okay, that's one. Wait for a while. Another one. You can smile now if you want to smile. All right, so is this it? All right. Okay, there are only 30